Hello and welcome to free Excel tutorial videos. For today's tutorial, we will look at how you can use advanced filters in Microsoft Excel. So I'm going to show you how you can write and apply a criteria so that you can extract the information from your dataset. Now, most Excel users are already familiar with the use of the auto filters. Okay, so if you come across an Excel worksheet that has these drop down arrows next to the labels, then you will have the auto filter menu in place like this. Okay, so in addition to that, you can create custom filters by using advanced filters. Okay, so the good thing to do is to insert a few blank rows like this above of your dataset. Okay, and you will see why I do so later on. Then you need to copy over the labels that you have for your dataset. So these are the labels that I have for my dataset, and I've created a copy of that data simply by using the formula. Okay, equals, and I point to this cell as the cell reference. Okay, and the same goes for every label that is up here. Okay, this way if I change the spelling down here, the label on the and the criteria above will reflect on that change. Okay, so we are going to use these blank cells. Okay, these blank cells down here to establish the criteria, and I've already typed in two customer name over here, and I want to apply a criteria which will select the customer. So which is these two. Okay, so what I have to do now is to select any cell in the data set and go to the data tab, and in the sort and filter group select advanced. Okay, so once you select advanced, you will have this advanced filter dialog box. So for the criteria range, for the list range, we have the data set, and for the criteria range you will need to select the labels up here as well as the rows that contains the value. Okay, so I'm going to select it like this. Okay, so this is the two criteria that we want the filter to work on. So okay, I made a mistake, so let's do it again. Advanced for the criteria range. Okay, you will select the labels as well as the rows that that has the criteria. So when I click OK, I'm going to get all the records that belongs to A Services and ECMA Corporation. Okay, so let's click OK, and there you go. You see now we have only the records for A Services and ECMA Corporation. Okay, so let's remove that. Okay, and if you compare it with the auto filter, you can do so the same thing, like coming here and deselect all and select these two. Okay, you see that? Okay, so let's select all. Okay, so now that we know how to use the advanced filter to get us the specific records, I'm going to show you now the difference between a criteria or and a criteria and n criteria. Okay, so I want to show you the difference between an or criteria and an n criteria. So this example that I show you just now is an or criteria. So for this, I want to remove this, and I want to copy the unpaid status and paste it up here. Okay, so I use Control C and Control V to paste it up here. So now again, instead of using the all filter, all criteria, we are using the n criteria. So we want to look for records that have A services and unpaid status at the same time. So once again, come to the dataset, select a single cell, go to the sort and filter group, select advanced. So the list range has been set. So now we need to select the criteria range. So come over to the criteria range and select the criteria and click OK. So I don't have any records that consists of A services for customer and the unpaid status. Okay, so let's undo this, and if we go through, let's verify this, and if we go through here and we go to A services, you can see that all of our A services has the invoice has been paid. Okay, so let's remove the filter. Okay, so with Excel 2007, the filter that Excel provides is actually very useful. Okay, so if you come over here to the invoice date, you have uh, options over here, you know, like sort by color, sort by this, and you also have these date filters. Okay, and these are all built in Excel. So before, I would have to use the advanced filter if I wanted to see only the values for a specific month or next quarter and so on. But now I can just come over here and select from here. Okay, but there are cases where I still need to use the advanced filter. Okay, for example is when you use a calculated field. Okay, so let's come over here to this cell over here. What I want to do is I want to use a formula that will return a value of true or false, and I want to give a label for this calculated criteria that is not a label in that already exists in the dataset. So I have used the label last payment, and this label is not in this dataset. Okay, so what I want to see is the records that are that are paid late. So the payments are made after the due date. Okay, the paid date is here and the due date is here. So what I want to see is the payments that are made later than the due date. So in order to do this calculated field, I'm using the if function. So I already have the function inside, so I'm going to walk you through it. So for the if function, the logical test will be the isBlank function. Okay, the logical test, the first argument will be the isBlank function, and I want to look into the cell here. Okay, so what I'm asking is, if the cell here is blank, return the value true. If not, return false. But here in the second argument, I will trick Excel because I want to have the word false appear if the cell over here is empty. So I want Excel to give me the text false when the value for the isBlank function is true. So because what I really want is to see whether the date paid was later than the due date. Okay, so now we have the formula and we have the labels. We have the label. So let's see how we work this on the advanced filter. So once again, select a single cell anywhere inside the dataset, go to advanced, and the list range has already been selected for you. And for the criteria range, okay, I'm going to select only these two, the label and the formula. Okay, and when I click OK, you can see I get the result where the date paid is later than the due date. Okay, you see that? Okay, so now you see although the filters in Excel 2007 or 2010 has been improved, there are still some occasions where you need to use advanced filter to filter your data. Okay, so this is how you can use the advanced filters in Excel, and that's it for this tutorial. I will see you in the next tutorial.